What up, everyone? It's your boy Soju, Bob, and Randy from the Straight Chillin' Podcast. We are back with another tier list ranking video. This time we are talking about the entire Halloween franchise. It is spooky season, and we are preparing for a brand new Halloween movie coming out, Halloween Kills, coming out in October. We are talking about 11 films today in the entire Halloween franchise, and this is the tier list we have here at Straight Chilling. Our S tier is going to be Slam Your Eyes Into It. That is a must watch. Our A tier is going to be Hard With Us, of course, hashtag Hard With Us. A B is going to be for Bob. That's By the Blue, right, Bob? You got to get that
Hell
blue.
Yeah.
The C tier is going to be Chillin'. D tier is going to be Don't Recommend, and the very, very bottom tier that you should not be watching is the solid 1 star. So let's go ahead. We got a lot of ground to cover, boys. Let's go ahead and start with the OG, starting from the top, Halloween. Bob, kick us off. Where are you going to put this on your tier list?
I feel like it's unsurprising to everybody listening, but I gotta go with Slam Your Eyes Into It. The original Halloween, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's obviously very influential, very basic. The score, the acting, the kills, the introduction of Michael Myers to everybody. It's an all-timer, so definitely Slam Your Eyes Into It.
All right, Slam Your Eyes Into It for Bob. Randy, where would you put the OG Halloween?
Well, I'm not gonna blow any minds here. This is a top tier movie, obviously, and it's for all the reasons Rob listed. I'm trying to just go with my heart on this particular tier list and not do anything that's like, oh, this has great implications for the horror genre, any of that stuff. This is very much just like a good fucking movie. This is a movie that's enjoyable on pretty much every level. It's fun, it's groundbreaking in its own right, but even beyond that, it's just the slasher, really, for my money.
Yeah. All right. So Slam Your Eyes Into It, Randy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sorry.
All right. And I am also going to go with Slam Your Eyes Into It. I cannot remember a Halloween season where I haven't watched this film, like in any kind of recent memory. This is an absolute must watch for the Halloween season, the one that started it all. I'm going to try to keep up with these posters as best I can. But the OG Halloween, we are putting it in Slam Your Eyes Into It, which means we'll move into Halloween 2. And this might start getting a little interesting. I'm going to start with Randy because I think Randy doesn't like this one as much as the general consensus. So I'm curious, Randy, where do you think you would put Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2? Now we need to clarify.
Yes, Halloween 2 81, is it?
Yeah, not Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah, Halloween 2 80, I believe it's 81.
I think so.
Yeah, it's on record that this is not a movie that I enjoy as much as other people do. But I will say, and I'm a little conflicted because I have not seen this movie in at least 10 years. It's been a long fucking time. Okay. So I think I owe it another rewatch. I just haven't done that yet. That said, I do think it's one of the better ones still. I'm not about to be out here saying this is a bad fucking movie. It is very close in spirit to the original. I think that's why people like it so much. So for me, it's still a Hard With Us. It's not quite top tier, but it's Hard With Us.
Okay, Hard With Us. I'm going to jump in here. I actually am going to agree with Randy on this one. I said with the previous one, I watch it every Halloween season, and it's true of this one too. I normally just double feature these back to back, and this one is amazing to watch with the original Halloween. However, if you took it on its own, like just as its own film, it does introduce the idea of an aspect, I guess with no spoilers, I guess, but it does introduce an idea that carries out, and I think in a way plagues the rest of the franchise. And I don't know if that was the best choice. It's still a lot of fun. It carries on. It's just, the next night of Halloween. And so it's perfect to pair with the first one, but on its own, I think I would also to put it in the Hard With Us tier. Bob, what are your thoughts on the original Halloween Deuce?
Yeah, I'm going to echo you guys. This is
Wow.
hard with us. I think any sequel is going to be a step down from the original. However, I do love the original Halloween 2. I think it's a really fantastic sequel. They start getting into the whole like, Laurie is related to Michael and it muddies the franchise, but it's got some incredible kills and I love the setting of the hospital and the fact that it's all on the same night. You just roll from one right into two and you continue on your happy little Halloween journey there. It's a great movie.
All right. I work so hard not to spoil, and Bob just
Yeah,
plowed through that.
Fuck it.
All right.
It is a movie that's 40 years old. So
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. So it is in the hard with us tier. Wow. So no disagreement so far. Let's get into Halloween 3. I'm going to start with this one. So this is where things start to get weird. This one has no Michael Myers. I don't think that's like a big spoiler or anything like this. This one was an idea for an anthology to do different movies, and different themes on a Halloween night. It was kind of a big failure when it came out. People are like, where's Michael Myers? And I think still to this day, it kind of surprises people. However, I think on its own, this is a pretty solid Halloween watch. It doesn't hold up to the franchise of Michael Myers and Loomis and Laurie and all that kind of stuff. But I think on its own, it's got some cool aspects. I really love the Halloween mask. It takes some wild swings with things. It's pretty out there, and I think I would put it in the chillin' tier. I think it's like a C grade, right there in kind of the middle. Not amazing, not terrible. Bob, what do you think of Halloween 3?
Dude, we're just on the same level here so far.
Whoa.
I'm gonna go with chillin' as well. This is obviously somewhat confusing ranking it amongst all the other movies because it's the only one that doesn't have Michael Myers in it. It's sort of a total outlier. But if you take it on its own at face value, it is a lot of fun. It's got a great score. The plot is like super wild. So if you're just down for a weird, wild ride, it's definitely one worth watching. Chill with it.
Chillin'. Randy, where do you put Halloween 3?
well, I'm sorry to break precedence here. I'm a little surprised that you guys are so low on this movie, or at least Rob. I feel like Rob was more sweet on this or less sweet on this than I thought. I put this in a hard with us segment, and I want to make it clear why that is. My main metric, I'm trying to clarify my metric here, is would I be excited to watch this movie again? Is basically where I'm coming from for all of these.
Okay.
I love watching this fucking movie. This is a much sillier movie than almost any of them on this list. It does not feature Michael Myers. I really respect the idea and the concept of turning Halloween into an anthology. I kind of loved that they took a swing with this one, even if it was not misunderstood by the general public and was rejected in part for that reason, but also in part because it's a very fucking silly movie. But I love the effects in this. I love the acting is like appropriately goofy and fun. It references the originals. It pays homage to it. So to me, I think that this is a fucking great movie to watch around Halloween time. Michael Myers or no, I'm putting it in hard with us.
Okay, good. Well, we're finally splitting a little bit. So me and Bob put it in chilling, but Randy up 2 tiers with the hard with us. I'm willing to compromise and throw it in the middle with the By the Blue because I like you. I do enjoy watching this film, and and if Bob bought the Blue, I wouldn't give him any shit for it. That's for sure.
Oh, I bought it twice.
And I was gonna say I'm shocked that it's that few times.
All right, Bob, are you okay with a little compromise and throwing it in By the Blue? All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Randy swayed us just a scotch. All right, so it's just going straight down the line here, but now we're coming to Halloween 4. Let's see who kicked that one off. Did I kick that one off? I don't remember.
Yes,
I'll let Randy start this one. Randy, where would you put Halloween 4 on your tier list?
So yeah, this is going to be another one where I'm sure I'm breaking from you guys because this is a particular entry into the franchise that specific to me is very important. I love Halloween 4. It's the one I saw most as a child. We covered this on the episode, the extravaganza last year. I think it was last year, right? That we did 4,
it
5,
was,
and 6.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I just have a very soft spot for this fucking movie. I love Jamie Lloyd. I like as long as they're going with the relationship status of Michael Myers that we learned about in part 2. I think this is kind of a fun way of taking it while not having the what's her name? God, Jamie Lee Curtis at their disposal. They went in a different direction, and I think it's kind of fun. And it just speaks Halloween to me, like the season. So for me, it's a slam your eyes into it. I will watch this probably as frequently as I watch the original.
Okay. I'm gonna jump in here. I actually really enjoyed this one, and actually it had become my tradition where I would do a double feature of Halloween and then Halloween 2 back to back. If I can do the trip feature, or at least like within the season, I'm going to start working in Halloween 4 because I thought it was a great ending to that almost kind of trilogy in a way, except they continued it on. And I love the spirit that it kind of brought back, just of Halloween night and everything. I don't love it as much as the original, but I think it is damn good. And I think it's up there with Halloween 2. So I'm personally going to put a hard with this. Put it in the hard with us tier. Bob, where are you taking Halloween 4?
I think I'm going to be a little bit lower than both of you guys. Actually, I was going for By the Blue is what I was thinking. This movie does a lot good, I think, for in the way of like getting the Halloween franchise back on track after Halloween 3. It brings Michael Myers back into it and introduces Jamie as a new lead character. And I think they do a really great job with her and her older sister, specifically developing that relationship and like giving you some like fresh heart. It also gives you like mad Halloween vibes, and you get to know, I guess that the town of Haddonfield a little bit better. It's pretty solid though. I'm gonna go with a By the Blue.
Okay, so I think if we averaged out Randy and Bob, it would be in the middle. So I'm gonna stick this overall at a hard with us. Ooh, we're splitting up a little bit here, boys.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let Bob take this next one. Bob, Halloween 5. Ooh, we're starting to get in the sticks here.
Yeah. Halloween 5, I think I'm gonna go chillin'. It's definitely a step down from I think all obviously all the other movies that we've talked about. They kind of do a disservice. Jamie's older sister, they just totally write her off in 5, and I feel like it hurts the heart, like the emotional core of what they're building all throughout part 4. So there's a bit of a misstep there. There is some pretty cool like Halloween vibes in it still. They kind of maintain that pretty well, especially towards the end. There's like a big Halloween party, and these kids are hanging out in like a barn and stuff. But it's okay though. I just put it under chilling.
Okay. Randy, Halloween 5. I think you love this one quite a bit in your heart.
So yeah, this is kind of the same reasoning as 4. However, in our previous extravaganza, like I mentioned before, I had to face some hard truths about this movie, and it's that nuts to bolts, this movie doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's not a smartly written movie. It mishandles the characters that I already enjoy. Without spoiling too much, there are certain characters that aren't here that I feel like should be here, Jamie Lee Curtis aside. However, that said, it is again a movie that speaks Halloween into my ear, and I just love it. It just feels like the Halloween season to me. I love the little stuttering kid. I love even quiet Jamie Lloyd. I like it. I enjoy it on that level, but it's definitely got its problems, and I am less inclined to watch it now than I was when we started our extravaganza last year. So I was split, and I think that I'm going to stick with my original score here and give it to the By the Blue section. To me, it's still very much worthy of a watch from time to time. It's a little tainted for me now, I guess, which is a shame.
All right, so we got a By the Blue, we got a chillin'. I like this much less than you guys. I have like no kind of real attachment to this movie. I watched it for the first time last year, and in my mind, it is like neck and neck for one of the worst Halloween films, in my opinion. At the time, I found it very uninspired. I like the like where they kind of take Loomis in an entertainment level. Just for seeing something wild on the screen, but everything else that was going on really kind of bored me, and I really just didn't like this film. So I was personally gonna put it at the solid 1 star. So we're kind of all over the book here. I think to average it out, it's probably fair to stick it around the chillin' level for Halloween 5. Oof.
Sounds good. Yeah, we're all over the place. Damn.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. All right, boys. Halloween 6, actually called The Curse of Michelle Myers. I guess I'll start this one.
Sure.
This movie is a bit of a hot mess, to the point where when we covered it on our podcast, we watched two different versions and we had to kind of school each other on how the versions were different, and it was very different. This one, though, I don't know why I kind of have a soft spot for it. Maybe it's just Paul Rudd, but I thought that they wrapped up the Loomis story as kind of best they could. And it was an interesting take on it. I thought Paul Rudd did a decent, like, charming kind of job. But a lot of the lore that goes on in this movie, a lot of the details are pretty rough. It does have some cool kills. I do remember there's like, as far as Halloween and like cool Halloween vibes ish in the beginning going on, but not like a classic Halloween. I think I'd put this one at probably don't recommend as best I can do on this one. Bob,
Best I can do.
yeah, Bob, where are you gonna put The Curse of Michelle Myers?
Michelle Myers, yeah, it's don't recommend for me as well. They they totally shaft Danielle Harris, and she's just not in this movie. And then they add in all this weird like Cult of Thorn nonsense. It's all over the place. I will say, if you're gonna watch one of the cuts, there's two. There's the theatrical and the producer's cut. I would recommend watching the producer's cut. There's definitely some sort of like train wreck nonsense happening here. Like you can't take your eyes off the screen. It's not necessarily good, but it's just like entertaining in a way. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. So yeah, don't recommend.
Okay, and Randy.
Well, you guys kind of like spoke my truth on that stuff. Like I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. However, I guess I'm a little softer towards it than either of you, because I put it in the chillin' section for myself. I think that this movie is like, especially the producer's cut. I guess I should be clear on that. I like watching the producer's cut of this movie. I don't do it frequently. I don't do it every year. It's not a mainstay. But I enjoyed watching it last year more than I did Halloween 5, which is saying something, because I do have a soft spot for that movie. And having seen it years and years, prior to Halloween 6, you would think that that would be enough to push it over, being two of the less quality entries, more train wrecky entries into the series, you might say. But for some reason, 6 just holds with me. There's something about some of the concepts presented, some of the, I guess, settings, some of the approaches that I do really like. I like that Loomis got even the slightest amount of screen time, considering how fucking, not well. What's that actor's name? I'm blanking here. His Donald Pleasance was at the time, and he passed during filming and all that stuff. It's just, I don't know. There's something about this that charms me a little bit. So I put it in the chillin' section for myself.
Okay. Unfortunately, Randy, we can't split the difference on this one, and it's 2-1. So we got to put this one in the don't recommend. I think that's the right poster.
I anticipated nothing less.
Let's see. We are moving on to H2O now. I will let Bob kick us off on this one. Actually, no, Randy. I think it's Randy's turn to kick off. Randy, kick us off on H2O.
Okay, well, this is where my hottest cake is, I believe, at least based on what I've heard from other people in the community. I really don't like this movie. I just don't like it. I think that having Jamie Lee Curtis back seems like a big benefit, but then it just it doesn't work for me. She's just very passive, and Josh Hartnett is not a person that I particularly like watching in anything. I think that it's pretty fucking boring, and it's got the worst looking goddamn Michael Myers of the bunch, and it's embarrassing to watch. It's cringy to watch for me. I put it in don't recommend.
Okay. Bob, I'll let you go on this one. H2O. I think you have some different feelings.
Yeah, I do. I don't necessarily love this movie, but I think it's really solid. It's presents like a really good atmosphere, and it's definitely, like Randy mentioned, it's always cool to see Jamie Lee Curtis re-enter the fold in this movie, like 20 years later after the original horrors went down. It's kind of a cool setting, and like this massive school. very Halloweeny. I overall dig it. But I will add the caveat that this is the one that I've seen the least, and it's been several years since I've seen it. So maybe if I watched it with fresh eyes, I might align more with Randy here, but I'm going to land with the chillin' for this one.
Okay. I actually just watched this one for the first time just a couple days ago. Never seen it before. It's one of the last ones I had to cover. And I kind of agree with Randy. It was boring, and I didn't like Josh Hartnett, and I didn't really like where they took Laurie's character. And the setting, like, so they open up with a cool Halloween scene, but then they go to sunny California, and it loses all kind of realistic Halloween vibes. And I was kind of surprised by the cast that's in this, because also Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it and stuff. So some of the cast surprised me, but overall I thought it was pretty bland and boring and didn't have a great like Halloween vibe to it. And so I also am going to put it in don't recommend. And so that's going to be 2-1, Bob. You're going to lose out on that one. And we're going to put it right there. All right. So let's get
by that.
Let's get into the good stuff. Halloween Resurrection. We haven't gone all the way down to solid 1 star yet. Halloween Resurrection, it's bad. And especially watching H2O, it made me kind of realize, because it's a direct sequel to that, and in a lot of ways, and it kind of pulls some details from that. But this movie, I can't help but keep going back to our cast on it. That was so much fun. It's so ridiculous and poorly made. At least, though, this movie's not boring. It's not well written and it's not well acted, but it is entertaining. And it does take you at least back to the Michael Myers house. So you're not in like sunny California or anything like that. I would be down to watch this movie again, and that kind of says a lot, especially, you know, with you guys having some beers, having some good laughs. So I think it at least earns its way up to don't recommend. Randy, what do you think?
Well, I mean, we feature similar logic on this. To me, like, I want to again reiterate, I'm basing almost exclusively on how much I want to watch this again. And I would love to watch this movie again. This movie is dog shit. It's terrible. And it's terrible, though, in a way that H2O is not, which is to say it's not boring while also being terrible. It's cringy while also being bombastic. And that's a recipe for a good time with the right setting. So like we talked about, it's funny. It's funny if you're with some buddies having some drinks. I would love to do that. That sounds like a great time. And it's definitely got more Halloween spirit than H2O. So for me, I'm struggling to put it between By the Blue and Chillin'. I think I'm going to go By the Blue because I'm going positive today. And I'm sure that'll be pretty fucking high compared to
By the Blue on Resurrection. Bob, how do you feel about Resurrection?
I am definitely going hard the other way from Randy. This is a solid 1 star for me, but I say that as like, you know, like ranking it against the other movies specifically, it's a solid 1 star. Like the enjoyment that we had watching this and recording an episode on the podcast about it was like through the roof. Like I had so much fun talking about that movie with you guys, but like categorically it like judging this movie on any other metric other than like it's really fun to like laugh about with your friends, it's terrible in every other single way. The way this movie opens and the interactions between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode is mind-boggling. The choices that they made in this movie are nuts. It's a terrible movie, but it's really fun to watch with your friends. So solid 1 star.
Solid 1 star. All right. We got to do some compromising here. So we got a By the Blue, a don't recommend, and a solid 1 star. I think the highest we can take it is probably don't recommend there to kind of average those out, which, whoa, we got a little grouping going on here.
Yeah.
It's a clear shit.
There's a line. Yeah. Here. It's all settling at the bottom. All right, let's get into our favorite director's take on these.
Tim Burton?
Yeah. Oh, man. Ooh.
I would actually love to see that train wreck one day.
So we're going to hop into the Rob Zombie series now, starting off with another Halloween. I think this is from 2007-ish, but the Rob Zombie Halloween. Rob, kick us off. I can't even keep track of who's kicking us off now, but Rob, kick us off with Rob Zombie's first Halloween.
This is a solid 1 star for me as well. The only redeeming qualities of this movie are completely lifted from the original. This movie's like 2 hours long. Everything that Rob Zombie adds to it to give it his own like flair and a sense of like originality really just only makes the overall story worse and less interesting for me. I don't want to see little baby Michael Myers having like a rough childhood. It's just not interesting, especially when he's supposed to be pure evil, et cetera, et cetera. There's no real reason to watch this. It's not even fun to watch with your friends and like have a laugh. It's just not enjoyable to me really whatsoever. It's a solid 1 star.
Okay, 1 star. I'm gonna jump in here, and I don't like this director. I'm very vocal about that. However, there is something I think he brings to this franchise. I don't like it, but I get the take on making him kind of giant, and this movie and Rob Zombie's take on it brings a brutality to it for sure, which, like Bob said, is not fun for me to watch. I also don't like the family aspects, the acting, the way they portray like Laurie Strode in this one, but it is a brutal Halloween. And at least it's got the things from the first Halloween to kind of fall back on, to kind of give it at least something to root it in this franchise. So I don't particularly want to watch it either, but I would say it would be okay in the don't recommend tier. Randy, how do you feel about Rob Zombie's Halloween?
Well, I hate it. I think it's bad. I think it's real bad for all the reasons Rob said. I think that this is, to me, it's like I can't even picture this movie without it, the overwhelming image in my head being that shitty little kid noshing on fucking candies with his disgusting fucking face. I just hate him. I hate it. I hate what they did to these characters. I hate that Laurie Strode talks about sucking dick and shit all the time. And I hate like none of this speaks to me. I understand that it was made with love by somebody who loves the franchise. I just think what he loves about it is not at all what I love about it. And I think that they just completely fucked the dog on this. To me, it's a movie. Again, what I'm rating it on is whether or not I want to watch it again. And I just don't. So it's a solid 1 star for me.
All right. Well, I am outvoted on this one, but that is okay with me. We are putting this in the solid 1 star and following it up with Rob Zombie's sequel, Halloween 2. I'm going to take this one because I just rewatched this one again to finally finish out the franchise. I couldn't finish it the first time I tried to watch it a couple years ago. This movie, I think it's the worst Halloween movie ever made. It's nonsensical in a lot of ways, and the things that make the first one bad are just amplified in this one. They just take Laurie down this dark, disgusting kind of hole of just like, and what they do with Loomis, oh my god, like I just hate everything about this movie. It has all of the things I hate about Rob Zombie's writing and directing, but also takes characters that I know and love and puts them in just a terrible place and just not the characters in any kind of way. I don't know what Rob Zombie was pulling from in this, and he mostly just abandons the idea of the sequel of Halloween, the original Halloween 2. And that's unfortunate because what he comes up with is garbage. So this one is going to be a solid 1 star for me. Bob, how do you feel about Rob Zombie's second movie, Halloween Deuce?
So I'm going to put this at a solid 1 star. I do have like a slight hot take, I guess. Like, given like the option to watch Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 or Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I would go Halloween 2, because it at least is like wholly his creation. And he does things with these characters, like you said, that you would just like never ever think anybody would do. And it's like wild to see, especially like the end, like what fucking Michael Myers does. It's just like wild and it's bad, but I would rather watch something that's like totally his creation than this weird like hatchet job from the original movie that is his part 1, honestly. But it's a solid 1 star.
Okay, fair enough. And Randy, wrap this one up for us. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Well, I have to abstain because this movie, despite Halloween being one of my favorite franchises, despite me being a total completionist when it comes to franchise slashers and needing to see all of them, despite, my compulsive nature at that, I have never been able to watch this movie. I've never successfully watched this movie. It defies viewing for me. So I cannot in good conscience vote for it. Eventually, I'm going to have to watch this thing, and I have a very strong suspicion where it's going to lie, certainly based on what you guys have to say about it and just based on my experience with Halloween 1.
Oh, man.
So I won't vote, but I think we know where that's going.
Randy, we need to cover this on the podcast because I need to hear your rant about what Rob Zombie does to Loomis. Like, I need that in my life.
Ask Santa Claus for it. We'll see.
So eventually we'll get there. Halloween 2. And finally, we're going to wrap it up with Halloween, another movie called Halloween from 2018. Bob, I'll let you kick us off on this one. How you feeling?
I'm gonna go hard with us on this one. It's one of the first sequels that I reach for whenever I want to throw on a Halloween movie that's not the original. Again, they have like Laurie Strode coming back into the fold here, and it talks sort of about like how her family has been affected by traumas that she suffered in the original. Michael Myers is brutal as hell. They get John Carpenter and his son and their whole band to come back and like do the score, and the score is fucking amazing. They do a good job at like giving you some of the old school stuff and adding in some interesting new stuff in the way that Rob Zombie was unable to do with his version. So it's hard with us for me.
Okay, cool. Randy, I'll let you go next. Halloween 2018.
I mostly agree. I will have to my alteration on that is that I have actually only seen this the one time. So I saw it in theaters. It's not one that I've rewatched very frequently. We haven't had very many years to do so, but I've just never had it on hand. And it still was new enough up until recently to be, a paid rental and stuff like that. And I'm just a cheap boy. So I never pulled the trigger on that. I intend to probably at some point this year before Halloween Kills, certainly. And I'm excited to watch it again. I think that what they did with this movie, they made Laurie Strode's development as a character, I think is fascinating and it's well conceived. I think that though it has some things that I would consider to be a little clunky going on in this movie, some things that are a little forgettable. I think that the brutality, like Rob said, the music, the score, the acting, like the approach they took to this, I thought was certainly unique and worthy of a hard with us for me.
Okay. I'm going to wrap this one up. I was going to put this one in the By the Blue. This one was not going to be a watch every year, kind of like I have in my hard with us tier. But I could see it, mixing it in the rotation of maybe every 2 to 3 years. It's got some real good things about it. Great Halloween vibes. The music, best take on Laurie in a sequel that we've seen, especially now covering this whole franchise. It's got some major problems for me too. I think the comedy just doesn't work well with this franchise. Some of that, the plot points, the podcasters and the doctor really kind of bothered me about this movie, but there is, some good enjoyment to have here. I was going to put it in the By the Blue, but I'm outnumbered on this one. So Halloween 2018 is going to the hard with us tier. So boys, this is pretty interesting to see the weight how it kind of balanced out. There's a lot of great films in this franchise. There is a lot of bad films in this franchise.
It's true, but there's only one king.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot in, like, I thought there would be more kind of in the middle, but it's balanced out, either good or like really good or really bad. So that's
like
pretty
almost
interesting.
perfectly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a pretty solid list. Honestly, like once you hit the chillin' section, it's kind of like written off for the most part. I think you could write off a lot of that stuff. I personally would watch Resurrection again, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that's a good movie. So it all makes sense to me.
Okay, well, I think this was really great, especially with Halloween Kills coming up. So we'll see eventually where that one kind of lands on the tier list for us. But those are our hot cakes on the Halloween franchise. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons to get some weekly horror content from the Straight Chillin' podcast. And until next time, don't forget to keep chillin'. Edit. Where is